Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty deep. It goes back. And even to your point, so you said when you were younger, you had an ADHD diagnosis. And for me, I don't even think it was ever considered. Like, and that's the thing. Like, a lot of this stuff is different for men versus women.
Yeah,
like, it's hidden for us. It shows up different. I learned how to mask very young, and I held on to that. And so there's always this like difference for me between like the person I really am and what I'm projecting to the world, because this is how I was told I need to show up to be able to still get things done. And I just never felt authentic in my own skin. And I always felt different, right? That feeling of like not fitting in, not, just, I don't know. But when people started saying like, it may be ADHD undiagnosed and it looks different for women, for me, it's distraction and inattentiveness, right? I'm not the hyper. Like the hyper for me is inside. People can't see the hyper, but it's internal. And then it's like easily distracted, not able to pay attention. Like for me, the jumping around all the time, the going from this to that is just a reflection of like what's happening inside. So it's just, I'm glad we figured this out, because they're starting to see, or maybe they've already had the research, but there's a correlation between people who have addictions, self-medicating, right? We're self-medicating anxiety, ADHD, depression, right? And so it's really important to start paying attention to these things, because maybe it can be preventative if we catch these things earlier. If we expand, what these undiagnosed disorders, and not to put anyone in a box, but just to give people the help that we need, then maybe we can prevent some of these more severe mental health diagnoses. I don't know.
No, you're right. And it, how do I say this? So the things that we talk about, how like it shows up different, and like things show up different in men and women, like a lot of it shows up the same. We just react to it differently, right?
That's fair.
Like I don't think I was particularly hyperactive as a kid. Like, especially seeing kids, like, as I grow up, I was just being a kid. But, I guess...
Also, black kids aren't allowed to be hyperactive.
Right.
Just say that. We're not allowed to run around and misbehave like Susie.
or, like, question anything, really.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yes.
Well, all right. This is... All right, maybe this is going to be on a resentments episode, but I remember in fucking 8th grade, it was me and this kid, Scott. We were both told we weren't allowed to go on our school trip because we were, had gotten in trouble too many times, right? Scott's a white kid, like, ended up going to private school. His dad has some position in the city, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, Scott ended up getting to go. He was in more trouble than I was.
Right.
And like the shit that he did was like, all I would do, like, if I ask a question or I ask too many questions, get out. Mm-hmm. If I'm shaking my leg, and get out. If I'm clicking my pen, get out.
Yeah.
If I'm humming a song, get out.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I guess in a way I don't know if at that point, like, teachers were even trained to understand that, like, hey, children are different, mm-hmm. and every single one is different. And at this point you need to, like, it's not that you need to, like, overextend yourself for one child or another, but just be, like, mindful and aware of what's going on, because you know what, then that child isn't going to grow up thinking that there's something wrong with them and then end up where we ended up. Mm-hmm. And the crazy thing is like, when I started using drugs and when I started drinking, the thing about it is that it made me feel normal.
Yep.
It like evened me out.
Same.
In a way that, like, nothing else that I'd done had ever done. Same. Well, there were a couple things that I'd done that kind of put me in that state, but I couldn't do those all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't play sports 24/7. I can't play music 24/7 or be like, but I can be high all the time. I can be drunk all the time or like have some sort of buzz. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know?
I didn't start drinking until I was 19 in college. But before that, I have an eating disorder, and my eating disorder started at 12. So I needed something to feel settled, and that did it for a long time until I got access to alcohol. But once I like had that first drink, it was like, yes. I just felt like, I don't know, I always feel like my skin is like the only thing holding me together, and it felt like everything just came together. Like, it felt like all the pieces just fit that first drink. You know, like, I'm here, I'm grounded, I'm like, the way people talk about, I don't know, just being present. I just felt present. I felt like I was in control of myself. I felt confident, and I didn't want that to stop. I wanted, like, that was my new reality, and drinking got me there, and I wanted to keep that going on. So, like, I was definitely a problem drinker day one. But it was because I just, self-medicating. Like, it was the thing that just made me feel connected to myself and other people. And yeah, I just needed it. And I needed it for a long time.
I agree. And I remember, I'll say this, everything that I did, well, just about everything that I did, like, I didn't start drinking until I was 18, but I started smoking weed at 16. In my 20s, I started doing uppers and things like that. And every time that I did a new drug or something, or experienced something new, I was convinced that everybody around who I'd seen before was faking, because I didn't have any of those reactions to any of that stuff. I was just like, oh, I'm chilling. Oh, I'm good. Like, all of the people who were like acting stupid when they smoked weed, I'm just like, the fuck is wrong with y'all? Like, y'all are faking it. People that act ridiculous when they're drunk, I'm like, what is, like, nah, that's not what it feels like. You're just being obnoxious. Like, people that act all speedy when they use uppers, but also the ADHD thing. When I use uppers, I chill. I chill to the point where, like, people would think that there was something wrong with me, and I'm just like, actually, I feel the best I've ever felt in my life.
Yeah.
But, like, I guess at the end of the day, I want to see more people understand that, like, what's going on in them, and, like, kind of, like, seek that the less destructive solutions before, you know, it gets to a point where, like, they need to end up in multiple rehabs.
Yeah, that's fair. I could never understand when people said, like, alcohol is a depressant, because for me, it boosted me, like, it gave me, like, power and control, and it just got me where I wanted to go. I felt like a superhero. I felt like I was on top of the world for a long time. Like, that's the beginning of the story, right? Down the line, it changed, and it did become that depressant. By the end of my, like, drinking career, I had suicidal ideations and depressed and isolating, like, all the things that they said it is. But my reality was that it took a long time to get there. It was like a process of, you know, this is helping me out, and then it turned on me. And so, like, I do want people to be aware that, like, it does different things to different people, right? Some people have the immediate effect of being sick and they can't handle it, and they get drunk and they're like, nah, I'm good. But some people are like, oh, I'm drinking and drinking and drinking, and I'm just able to go. I'm not really drunk. I'm holding it. I'm not vomiting. I'm, you know, whatever. Like, everyone's process is different. But what I stress to people is, like, it can change. So that whole process of it being helpful to me definitely changed where it wasn't anymore. Hence why I went to the multiple rehabs. For me, it was 12. How many was it for you?
4.
Okay.
There were many more relapses than that, but I just didn't go.
Yeah. And when I say rehab, I mean, like, anything like inpatient, right? Like detox, residential, inpatient, whatever, all that stuff. I'm not living in my own home. I'm going to a treatment somewhere.
Okay. Well, if you're considering like psych holds, then we're gonna say 6.
Psych holds count. I'll add my eating disorder treatment, so that's 13. Yeah. And that doesn't even include, like, the PHPs, the IOPs, right, which is outpatient.